The Boston Celtics are looking to add some front court depth, as we have a report from Mark Stein that the Celtics are looking to bring back big man Kelly Olynyk, and we will break down how great Kelly Olynyk has been for the Utah Jazz and how impactful he would be for the Boston Celtics if the Celtics were to go make a move, and how likely the move on landing Kelly Olynyk back to Boston would be. We'll be breaking all of that down for you guys on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, but before we get into any Boston Celtics content, I would like to say that roughly right around 78% of our viewers are not subscribed, and would greatly appreciate it if you hit that big ol' red subscribe button and join the Celtics Digest family. We're getting so close to our goal of 3,000 subscribers, so if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything Boston Celtics, news, trades, rumors, live streams, hit that subscribe button, join the family. You definitely won't regret it, as we have daily Boston Celtics coverage for you guys to break down. But let's dive into the video at hand. Make sure to grab a snack, as today is going to be a fantastic, jam-packed episode as we dive in, exploring how the Boston Celtics could bring back Kelly Olynyk to Boston. Now, personally, I am one that definitely agrees that the Celtics need to bring some more front court depth into this team. We've already seen at the start of the season that Kristaps Porzingis has had some injury history for the Boston Celtics, and guys like Al Horford and Luke Kornet have definitely stepped up. But when Al Horford needs a back-to-back on a rest, and when Kristaps Porzingis and Luke Kornet are both out, we've seen that the Boston Celtics have had some really rough front court settings. And even though they have worked out for the Boston Celtics, guys like Oshae Brissett, Neemias Queta especially has stepped up tremendously, and even a guy like Lamar Stevens has been there to help out with the Boston Celtics in starting lineups. The Celtics could use some insurance in that front court position, and a guy that they've been rumored to be interested in is Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk has already obviously played with the Boston Celtics when he was drafted here, and now it is rumored that he could possibly be brought back to help push this team make a push in the finals. So we'll be diving in, looking at that news, and seeing how likely it is that the Celtics could land Kelly Olynyk. So first, we'll be looking at how Mark Stein says that league sources say that the Celtics are among the teams that are monitoring Utah's Kelly Olynyk in advance of a potential trade pursuit. The big man is playing just under 22 minutes a game, averaging around 7.9 points, 4.5 assists, and 5.5 total rebounds. Kelly Olynyk is having a great season in Utah and has been very efficient while on the court. And from the floor, he's shooting around 55% from the field and 42% from three, with around 90% from the free throw line. The only problem with getting Kelly Olynyk to Boston is it will be a tricky deal for Boston to get it done, as the Celtics will have to match the $12 million that Kelly Olynyk is making this season, as Olynyk is in his third year of his 3-year, $37 million deal that he initially signed with the Detroit Pistons. So that is the one problem here with the Boston Celtics, is the Celtics do not have a lot of tradable assets and tradable contracts. Therefore, it is hard for the Boston Celtics to get a deal done. Now, Keith Smith, who has also worked for Celtics blog, where this report is coming from, and works for Spot Track, gave a little bit of an insight on how the Celtics could possibly get this done, and we'll have that here to break it down. He says that Olynyk will have to has an outstanding season, and his efficiency is off the charts, and he's put up good counting stats despite not playing a ton. But it's hard for Boston to match that $12 million in a trade. It's either a rotation guy or stacking a bunch of contracts together. If we want to look at the Celtics salary cap right here, you guys can see Jrue Holiday making $30 million a year, Kristaps making $30 million, Tatum making $30 million, and Jaylen Brown making $30 million. For Celtics making $30 million, roughly around $120 million in the cap space right there. So guys like Derrick White, who's on a $17 million deal, which is an absolute steal for how he's been playing this season, isn't a guy the Celtics are going to want to look to move off of. And the only other tradable contracts after that is Al Horford, who's been a big veteran for the Boston Celtics. Payton Pritchard, whose contract does get poison pill activated, it will rise up to the $7 million when you are trading him. But if they are to do that, they'd have to throw in Payton Pritchard, Luke Kornet, and maybe even a guy like Shima Hyluk in there just to get the contracts done. Utah then would have to waive a couple of those guys or even send some of those guys. And even though the Boston Celtics have done this in the past, they have done it with Daniel Tice, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago when they traded Dennis Schroeder to the Houston Rockets to bring back that big man. I don't know if the Celtics will full-heartedly go out and get this deal done. We want to keep looking at some stuff here, that this is the second rumor to come out of the Boston Celtics' interest in adding a front court depth. It was earlier reported that the Celtics are also interested in Detroit's Isaiah Stewart, and we had a video breaking down over that. If you missed that, you guys can check that out. Basically, in that video, I said the same along things, that it's hard for the Celtics to match a contract to get Isaiah Stewart, mainly using Al Horford, and I don't know if the Celtics should do that. If a deal can get done, the Celtics will add a proven vet, which will help out their bench options and upgrade his front court. And Olynyk is in the final year of his contract and is set to be an unrestricted free agent after the end of the season. So it's not like the Boston Celtics would be losing out on that much if Kelly Olynyk were to come, play for a year, and then either sign a cheaper extension to stay on this team, or if he were to leave in the offseason. Now, the Utah Jazz are obviously a team that is looking to sell. They've been at the bottom of the leader of the Western Conference, and with Lauri Markkanen having his injury, yes, he is back now, and the Utah Jazz have been looking to look a little bit better. The Utah Jazz have a bunch of stars on the trade market. Lauri Markkanen is set to be on the market eventually, or it has been. John Collins has. Colin Sexton, a young guard, has. Jordan Clarkson has. It seems like the Utah Jazz are just trying, Danny Ainge especially, are just trying to gather as many picks and young assets as they can. And a guy like Kelly Olynyk is not just coveted by the Boston Celtics, but is coveted by a lot of other franchises where he could be an impactful role-playing big off the bench for them in a nice big man that can stretch out the floor and shoot, but also be a solid rim protector in blocking shots. We just saw Kelly Olynyk have a fantastic revenge game in that Utah Jazz versus Detroit Pistons game where he absolutely carried that Utah Jazz team that night. If we want to look at some of Kelly Olynyk's stats this season, like we had mentioned in the article, he has played 29 games, averaging around 7.9 points, 5.5 total rebounds, and 4.6 assists, shooting around 54% from the field, 42% from three, and around 90% from the free throw line. He is having a electric season from the shooting stats, and he also had a very big season for the Utah Jazz last year as well. It was just a little bit slept on because he's obviously in Utah and they're not in a prime position to be pushing and winning. Ultimately, I think Kelly Olynyk would be a great fit for the Boston Celtics, and I think it would be a valuable piece to add. Now, like I said in the past, I don't know if the Celtics necessarily are the front runners to get a guy in Kelly Olynyk, just because the easiest way to match this salary is trading Al Horford, and personally, I would not be giving up Al Horford. I think his veteran locker room presence and just how much of a great guy and great character he is, he's already expressed this role of being the sixth man and taking it on for that bench, and even when guys like Kristaps Porzingis or a guy like Jayson Tatum sits out when Al Horford gets that starting job bid, he plays phenomenal for the Boston Celtics and does everything he needs to do to help the Celtics win. I don't see the Celtics trading a guy who's doing all of that for them and sacrificing his role for this team when he knows he could be a starter for them. I see the Celtics easily repaying Al Horford and trying to get him this championship and helping him out in that victory as well. So I don't see them moving off of him. A guy like Payton Pritchard could be involved in the deal, like I mentioned, with the poison pill contract. If we want to look back at these things, at the contracts, you could throw in a guy like Luke Kornet and maybe even a guy like Dalano Banton or Fiba in there to make the contracts work. Then the Utah Jazz obviously would have to cut some guys. It would work for them. They get a young guard in Payton Pritchard. Maybe they get an extra couple first-round picks or a couple second-round picks that the Celtics could toss in from their NBA draft lottery from last year that they bulked up on 5 second-round picks. Maybe they could throw 1 or 2 of those as well in this deal to sweeten the deal for Utah. Take the picks, take some of our bad young players. Then the Celtics could look to experiment, maybe bringing up a guy in J.D. Davison to play the third point guard, or maybe bringing up a guy in DJ Stewart or Jordan Walsh to help out play that role. We'll have to wait and see to kind of fill in that Payton Pritchard role. And then, obviously, the one thing that I think the Boston Celtics should do to make moves and upgrade is use that traded player exception. It's obviously $6.2 million. I think it is the easiest way for the Boston Celtics to go out and get someone. The only bad problem is you have to trade for someone under the $6.2 million. So it will be a little tough for the Boston Celtics to find someone to fit in that realm that they really, really realistically like, that they could throw some seconds to get the deal done. We've mentioned plenty of guys in the past, Sadiq Bey, Andre Drummond, Javon Carter. Those are some of the guys that I like, but I want to know in the comment section some players that you guys want to see the Boston Celtics go after. So let me know if there's anyone else besides Kelly Olynyk. Who would you like the Celtics to go after, either via trade or via the trade player exception? And do you guys like the Kelly Olynyk fit? I really like the Kelly Olynyk fit, and I think it could possibly get done. I just realistically think the best way to get it done is by trading Al Horford, and I don't see that happening. And I don't see the Celtics buying in on trading Payton Pritchard and a bunch of these small guys at this moment. So at this point, I would say it's about a 30% chance that this trade does get done. But we'll have to wait and see. We could have another video recently or in a couple months where we absolutely break this news down. So make sure to stay tuned in. Make sure if you guys are at this point in the video, hit that subscribe button and make sure you guys are staying with the Celtics Digest family. If you guys are at this point in the video, we know you enjoy this Boston Celtics content, so make sure to stay and get that daily juice. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.